Hello, little witchlings and princelings, and welcome to your weekly Coven Summoning. My name is Ilsa.
And my name is Stacy.
And we're Caffeine and Conjuring,
a fantasy bookish podcast where we will discuss some of our favorite fantasy reads.
Before we get into the episode, as always, make sure you've read the first 4 books of Throne of Glass and the first 19 chapters of Queen of Shadows, so nothing gets spoiled for you, because we'll talk about anything and everything. We ended off our last episode with Lysandra dropping some major news to Aelin, and it was a letter from Wesley, Arobyn's former bodyguard, revealing that Arobyn ordered Sam's torture and death, and even planned Aelin's capture. So we're getting a little new alliance between Aelin and Lysandra.
Which is really weird, because, I really did not like her in Assassin's Blade. Assassin's Blade, right?
Yeah.
That's when she was introduced. Yeah, everything about her irked me. And now, getting her, I don't know, redemption arc? Would that be the correct? Maybe it's not. Maybe she wasn't that bad of a character that she needs a redemption arc.
Or that important of a character. Any comments.
But I don't mind her now, especially after these chapters.
Yeah. So, chapter 10, we're starting out with Aelin in his dungeon cell, seriously battling a nasty infection and pretty much ready to die. He's counting down the minutes, feeling death lurking nearby, but then a shocker for Aelin. Dorian strolls in.
This is his first interaction with Dorian since...
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, we know Dorian is now being possessed by the Valg via collar. I mean, I don't mind collars. I'm a shadow daddies, but not that color.
No, not one that takes away Dorian.
Yeah. So Aelin quickly realizes that this isn't a rescue. The Blackstone collar around Dorian's neck tells him everything he needs to know. Dorian is gone, and some cold, predatory, not quite human thing is in control. Aelin, trying to provoke a reaction, relentlessly brings up Sorsha's death and how his father, the king, killed her. Dorian flinches a bit, but mostly just stares with horrifying, empty beauty, promising to enjoy watching Aelin die. Oof. Yeah. But then Dorian orders a healer to be sent for Aelin, and Aelin is forced to be treated, cursing death for not taking him. So Dorian / creepy Valg prince has scented that Aelin is trying to wither himself away.
It's just like, nope.
Yeah, you're not getting away like that. The scene then shifts to Dorian in the glass castle, forced to bow before the king. The king is reveling in his control of Dorian, using the Wordstone collar to puppet him. And what a fucking ass. He's like, I should have done this years ago, whether you had the magic or not. Yeah. Fucking arse.
Yeah, I did not like that.
Dorian is forced to report on Aelin, confirming the king's plans to use Aelin's execution as entertainment. The chapter ends with the demon-controlled Dorian saying, "It was my pleasure to serve Majesty." A truly chilling moment.
And the worst part is that Dorian is still there. He knows that he's being, puppeted.
Yeah, I like that they give us a little bit into the mind of Dorian, being like the darkness is taking over. You got a little bit further today. I can no longer control this or that, or he's now seeing through my eyes.
That's so bad. I mean, I know he doesn't he's not recognizing the importance or how destructive it is. He's not recognizing that really, because he doesn't remember who he is. He doesn't remember the names of the people he cares about. But it's still the fact that he has no control over it.
Yeah.
And then chapter 11, we get swung over to Kale, and
Ugh.
he's a mess.
Ugh.
He's still just trying to process everything that's happened, especially Dorian being enslaved, and he's feeling like, as he said, a nameless oathbreaker, a liar, a traitor. He's in the shadow market, and he's trying to meet up with Brullo and Rest for information on the king's plan. Chaos erupts when Aelin unexpectedly shows up at their meeting, having tracked them down, which was actually pretty funny. Like, I did like this scenario because she just like pops in like she was supposed to be there, and I love it. She's very much in like queen mode. She's just sharp-tongued and totally unconcerned with drawing attention at this point. Kale is furious, especially when she starts verbally sparring with his men, Ress and Brullo, and even with Nesrin, who is with him. Aelin, being Aelin, quickly makes it clear she knows the score and demands information. She tells Brullo to keep his men from the southern garden wall and to wear red flowers as a signal. Kale realizes that Aelin is about to turn the glass palace into a killing field, and his men will be spared. But she does not say whether Dorian will be spared or saved.
I feel much more comfortable now expressing my disgust for Kale. Especially where you're like such a Kale girly. I always felt bad, like, even saying that I'm not a fan. But now when his name gets brought up, I can be like, ugh. And at least now you're like kind of getting it.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not angry at Kale, I'm angry at Sarah. He had so much potential to be such a great character, and to see her write him like this, just, it hurts.
Things get a lot worse with him before they get better, but I will say that, like, he does get a bit of redemption. Like, I don't truly hate him, I find him a bore, and there are things that really irk me that he does in the series, some of which we're seeing currently.
Yes.
More later on. Empire Storms.
So after this exchange, Aelin leaves and she ends up at the Royal Bank of Ardalan. This is a strange little like interlude. But like, we know that there has to be some semblance of importance to this scene because it wouldn't be there if there wasn't something important about it. So she's there and she's waiting for the master. Like, he's speaking of her various accounts and like the interest that has gathered over the years. And then she's like turning on her assassin's senses. She's taking in all the details of his office. She mentions like his desk and just different parts about the room. And while he scuttles off to withdraw the sum of money that she requests, all it says is that Aelin swipes something off the desk and she puts it in her pocket. That's all we get out of that chapter or out of that scene. But then the chapter ends with her back at her apartment and she's waking up in her bed and she reaches over to an empty side and she has to remind herself that this isn't Wendelin. Rowan is not in her bed. While eating breakfast, she receives a word from an urchin banging on the door that she's been summoned to the Assassin's Keep immediately.
Da, da, da. So in chapter 12, we're focusing on my girl Manon in Morath, and things are getting wild. She's summoned by Duke Parrington, and she's not happy about it, especially since she considers him a mortal pig.
Fitting.
Yeah. Her second, Asterin, is right there, ready for trouble. The Duke drops a bombshell. He wants Manon to pick a Blackbeak coven for experimenting, specifically breeding with the Valg demons to create a demon witch offspring. And, like, he does state that it's no, like, physical touch breeding. It's like they sew a stone into their stomach, and the whole thing just, like, gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Honest to God, I think I would have rathered.
Right?
the natural way, but like the whole stone and yeah. Mm-mm.
And Manon as well is absolutely disgusted, flat out refusing to hand over her witches for such a grotesque purpose, even when the Duke threatens Abraxos. She ends up telling him to use the Yellow Legs Coven instead.
Yes.
And it was like she mentions too that like witchling babies, like witchlings, are such a rare prize isn't the right word, but like a rare gift for the witches. And she can't imagine ever sacrificing them to whatever disturbed shit is going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But fuck the Yellow Legs. They can do it.
Yeah. Let's throw them under the bus.
After the meeting, Manon and Astrid have a huge blow up. Astrid is furious about the Duke's plan and challenges Manon, begging her to not hand over any witches. Manon, true to her brutal nature, punishes Astrid by demoting her to third and promoting Sorrel in her place as a second, even physically hurting her to maintain discipline despite Astrid's desperate pleas. This scene was so heartbreaking.
All she did was just like question. To me, reading it, I was like, man, this is so excessive of Manon.
Yeah.
Like Ashley, like all she was, I mean, I know she was questioning Manon's, like what she was doing. And
yeah.
so I do see in the sense of pretty well everything else that we've seen from the witches, like you don't question,
Yeah.
you just do. So, but I just felt so bad for Astrid at this point.
So after the blow up, Manon then heads to her area and finds a human servant Aelin in her room. Does this name ring any bells, Stacy?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Do you remember whose daughter she is?
No, not offhand.
Marion's, the woman that sacrificed herself
Right.
for Aelin.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I knew that the name came up and I couldn't remember what book. I couldn't remember and I didn't want to Google it.
Oh, it would have been horrible to Google it.
Yes. So I was just like, I'll just wait. Ilsa will tell me. She's my memory.
So Manon discovers that Aelin is Lord Vernon's niece and subtly reveals that Aelin might have witch blood in her. Manon tests Aelin's cunning and discovers she might be a spy. Manon also visits the aerial blacksmith to inspect weapons, contemplating the weight of her leadership and the difficult choices ahead. She's pushing her witches to their limits and reflects on her grandmother's brutal lessons. Sorrel speaks with her about Astrid and how their order is disrupted, whereas back at the Omega, they knew their place and what was expected. Here they have no routine, no purpose, and are weapons just waiting to be used, so they're bound to be on edge.
I like how Sorrel was trying to,
be like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, like obviously as Astrid, I almost said Asterion. Like it was kind of like she was saying like obviously like Asterion is going to have like questions and she's going to be on edge because everything is all up in the air.
Yeah.
Literally. I did like how the whole scene with Manon and Aelin, like pretty well everything about that, because you knew that Aelin was not being fully truthful.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was like hiding her face with her hair, and yeah, I'm very interested to see how that goes. So chapter 13, we're back with Aelin, and she's arriving at the Assassin's Keep, and she's feeling kind of weird and kind of comforted because because it's the same. Like, it hasn't changed. She still feels the same walking through the halls, whatever. She she just basically strolls right over there during the daylight, which is kind of a bold move, but most of the city is distracted by preparations for the prince's birthday party anyways. And she's focused on Adian, who she needs to rescue. She finds Arabin in his study, and their conversation is just pure mind games. He obviously knows everything about her Fae identity and her past, and he subtly warns her that she'll need to lie low with Adian after the escape because Rifthold is dangerous for, and he said, fire-breathing bitch queens. And I love that that was brought up again. So yeah, how it's dangerous for her if she's on the run. He also tries to bait her about Dorian, asking if she'll put the king's son down before he can become a threat, and hinting at Kael's secret meetings with Nesrin. Aelin, playing along, claims that she sent Kael to Arabin. Later, Lysandra shows up at Aelin's apartment, and Aelin admits she's read Wesley's letter and finally accepts Lysandra's offer of friendship. And they sort of make a pact to destroy Arabin. They have kind of, it's like this girly moment, and it was very reminiscent of her and Nehemia.
Yeah.
This whole part, because like they're talking about Wesley and about Sam, and Lysandra like admits to being jealous of Selena, and then Aelin apologizes for being a monster towards her, and then they're talking about chocolates. Lysandra brought chocolates to her, and she even says about how she once stole a box of chocolates from Selena. So she knows that Selena likes chocolates. Yeah, and then Aelin has said something about being Lysandra said that they'll eat so much chocolates that like she'll vomit, and Aelin is like, how genteel lady, like, or whatever it was that she said. But then Lysandra says that they're wild beasts wearing human skins, and I love that.
That was one of the highlights I had as well. You and I are nothing but wild beasts wearing human skins. Don't even try to deny it.
Oh, I love it. I think it was a pretty heartwarming moment for Aelin.
Yeah.
I think it was needed.
I also have a disgusting quote from Arabin highlighted as well from this chapter.
About how she fits the suit a lot better or something than when she was 17.
Yes!
Ugh.
So he says, it
Read
was
it.
a present. She says, stick with jewelry and clothes. She rose and glanced at her suit, or useful things. His eyes followed hers and lingered. You fill it out better than you did at 17.
God. I don't like him.
Nope.
Heebie-jeebies. So the chapter ends with them conspiring about Aelin's plan to save Adian tomorrow, and Lysandra asks Aelin if she trusts Arabin's plan.
Nope.
And then asks Aelin, what if we killed two birds with one stone? So that obviously piques Aelin's interest, and the chapter just ends with Aelin saying, I'm listening. So we don't get to know what Lysandra's plan is, but I guess we'll find out.
Oh, we did already say the other thing I had highlighted, but definitely remember that other quote, the wild beast one.
She Fae too?
No. I shouldn't answer questions.
I thought she might have been, because at some point, and I don't know what chapter it was in, if we've already talked about it or if it's coming, but Lysandra, like, Aelin says that she doesn't think Lysandra will have any issue with who Selena actually is, like, being Fae or half Fae.
So, chapter 14, we're switching back to Kael's perspective, and another Kael chapter.
Not too bad. This one's pretty action-packed.
Yeah. He and Nesrin are on a rooftop watching an execution about to happen in the city square. Aelin is there too, and she's not holding back. She's telling Kale point blank that killing a demon possessed Dorian would be an act of mercy. Kale, however, threatens to betray Aelin's plan to save Aedion if she harms Dorian, which earns him a chilling threat from Aelin about burning his kingdom to ash. Uh? Uh?
Yeah.
Things get pretty intense when the first prisoner is brutally beheaded, and the crowd actually applauds. This triggers something in Kale, and he suddenly reveals a massive secret to Aelin. To free magic, they need to destroy the clock tower in the garden, as it's one of the 3 Wordstone towers that are stifling magic. So good on him for actually trying to help the situation and growing a pair of balls and not being scared of her fire magic when she's trying to fucking save Terrasen.
It all it took was him being traumatized by Sorsha's beheading.
Yeah.
And then being reminded of it when the prisoner was beheaded. You know.
So Aelin quickly takes charge, acknowledging the risk but also the opportunity. She and Nesrin launch into action, with Aelin, being Aelin, throwing a dagger straight into the executioner's throat, while Nesrin provides covering fire with her bow. Chaos erupts, and Kale and his men rush in to free the remaining prisoners. Later that night, Aelin is on a rooftop, tracking the king's black uniformed guards, who are revealed to be possessed by Valg demons. She deliberately provokes a fight with a patrol, unleashing her deadly skills and leaving a trail of black Valg blood and severed heads. She knows this will lead the other Valg to her, but it also gives her intel. And then the chapter ends with Aelin back at her apartment. Dawn broke. She had been up half the night scouring her books that Kale had saved, giving her a crucial advantage. She's donning her new outfit from Erebin, ready to save Aedion.
Ooh. But I gotta say, like, that chapter was still pretty sad too, when they Nesrin says like she'll let the family know of the prisoner who's beheaded. Yeah. Chapter 15 was a stupidly short chapter. Like, it served absolutely no purpose. It was Aedion's perspective, and he's after being recovered from the infection. He's still a little tired, so he talks about how they dressed him and he was winded. And he's being cleaned up. He's getting to look presentable for his execution. We do find out that the plan is that he's going to be killed with his own blade, because the king loves a good spectacle. He's brought up to the ballroom and he's shackled to the platform where he'll be executed. But he does have a plan up his sleeve. He does say something about the stool
as a weapon.
To be a good weapon. Yeah. But he does say at the end of the chapter that he wants to meet his end of his own choosing. Okay. I guess we'll see where that goes.
Oh, and chapter 16 is what we were talking about earlier, with the little bits of Dorian peeking through. Mm-hmm. We start from, obviously, Dorian's POV. He's sitting between his parents. He notices that the demon inside broke through a little more and is now looking through his eyes with malice. He thinks the demon has won. And then we switch to Aelin's POV, and she infiltrates the glass castle during the prince's birthday celebrations. She's disguised as a dancer with Madame Florine's troupe, her hair dyed, and her face made up to blend in. Aelin has a tense but meaningful conversation with Madame Florine, her former dance instructor, and Florine, who clearly dislikes the king's rule, especially after he shut down the Royal Theatre and massacred the musicians, agrees to help Aelin. And she mentions, like, her and the conductor were really good friends, and they have a little sweet moment talking about him. I can't remember his name.
It was like Peter or Peter. Something like that, yeah.
So once inside, Aelin spots word marks painted on the thresholds and the windows and doors. Thinking quickly, she fakes an injury, throwing a dramatic tantrum and demanding water. This allows her to get a bucket of water from one of Kale's men, who she discreetly identifies by a red flower on his uniform.
Smart. They followed instructions.
When it's her turn to enter the castle, she trips, spilling the water over the word marks on the threshold, effectively disabling them, and then gets shoved inside.
Smart cookie.
Sometimes.
Reminds me of the word marks that were under her bed. That's the scene that I got brought back to.
Yeah. And they hate me being like, you just had to wash them away every goddamn day. It's like they were there to protect you.
Oh, now I'm sad. And then chapter 17. So they're inside and they're in the narrow servants' hall. Aelin prepares for her mission, subtly observing the castle and briefly spotting Nesrin in disguise. Phallic? Is that her last name? Nesrin Phallic?
Philique, I think.
Philique?
Yeah.
Phallic.
That would be unfortunate.
I just said that so many times and did not tune into what I was saying. Philique. Nesrin Philique, and I'm so sorry. And she just like, they just have like this like little look of recognizing each other. Florine, the dance mistress, gives a stern pep talk and then quietly imparts crucial intelligence to Aelin. She tells her that Aedion is gone and pale, but he's alert. He's ready. And then Florine says she's always been curious about Arobyn's interest in Aelin, and then expresses her deep belief in the power of art, promising to join Aelin's future kingdom. I loved that.
Yeah.
Her speech at that point, because she was just like, don't forget that art is really important. I will follow you wherever. It was obviously much more, tugged on your heartstrings a little more than that. But yeah, so as they're all entering the ballroom and Aelin is channeling her inner fire heart, she slips into the crowd, her focus on Aedion rather than the king. And I quoted this part because I just thought it was such a great quote. She was the heir of fire. She was fire and light and ash and embers. She was Aelin Fireheart, and she bowed to no one and nothing, save the crown that was hers by blood and survival and triumph. Ooh. And then we switch over to Aedion's perspective. He's still chained to the execution platform, and he's watching the Death's Handmaidens perform, scattering symbolic ashes. Oh yeah, because Florine gave them each this like glass rose.
Yeah.
And then he notices an extra dancer who is taller and she's moving a little differently. And then she like quickly disappears. Then she reemerges. She doesn't have on like the dancing guitar. She's kind of like dressed as a man. It's really weird how this all happened. But it was very sneaky of Aelin.
Yeah.
But then Aedion recognizes the figure by her build as Aelin, who provocatively struts closer to his stage. As the orchestra reaches its climax and the dancers shatter their glass roses on the floor, Aelin meets Aedion's gaze with a triumphant glint in her eyes, signaling that their plan has begun and, to quote, the entire world went to hell. Oh, that was such a fun... I mean, I know there's nothing fun about the scene, but it was almost a bit comical.
Yeah.
With the way that Aelin was just so theatrically, like...
And, like,
her plan
he noticed her by her eye color, and they had that, like, moment where they locked eyes, and then he just gave, like, a smirk.
Yes.
It's like, yes, 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 yes.
This is their first time seeing each other since,
Childhood.
like,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So in chapter 18, the hall erupts in thick, choking smoke as the glass flowers and scattered powder ignite, bringing the music and cheers to a screeching halt. Amidst the chaos, Aelin, her dancer's skirt, now a camouflaging gray cloak, is already moving. As the clock tower strikes noon, she confirms Adian is collar-free and the relief fuels her swift, brutal assault. Daggers flash as she dispatches guards around him, her focus unwavering. Florian's voice cuts through the screams, ushering her dancers to safety. With blood on her hands, Aelin reaches Adian, who's already impaled 3 guards with shards of his stool.
I love how he was still able to pull off his little part of the plan.
Ignoring the guard's charge, Aelin throws a dagger, forcing Adian to duck, and then plunges her own arm into a wound. Using her blood and memorized word mark, she slices at his magically bound chains, causing them to flare with blue light before thudding to the ground. Little graphic.
Yep.
As the king's voice booms over the panic, Aelin unsheathes another hidden blade, handing Adian his ancestral Sword of Orinth, which had been on display. They race for the patio windows, Aelin skillfully dispatching more guards while navigating the frenzied crowd. Adian, though injured, stays close, even with Aelin being, "Hurry up, Adian! Hurry up! Stay with me! Stay behind me! Hurry up! You gotta move faster!"
Stress.
Outside, Aelin shouts, "Fire!" to further panic in the crowd, shattering windows and creating a bottleneck as she shoves Adian through chaos into the blinding noonday sun of the garden. As the clock chimes its final 12th strike, Aelin quickly uses her blood and word marks again to unlock Adian's hand restraints. She then unleashes her full power, a whirling cloud of death, effortlessly cutting down the remaining guards. Just as Adian, now free, laughs and stumbles into a sprint beside her towards the hedges and potential archers, they slide to a halt. It's not more guards, or even the king who appears. Instead, they find Dorian strolling calmly towards them.
Oh no. He should be such a comforting picture. Oh, our last chapter. Chapter 19. Aelin's blood wards initially protect Adian from magical attack, but they're quickly crumbling. Desperate to reach her friend, Aelin faces the prince, raising the Sword of Orinth and even sketching a quick word mark on the ground to momentarily bind him. As she hesitates, ready to end Dorian's suffering, Nesrin Falik suddenly appears, aiming an arrow at Adian and revealing. What did I screw up?
No, I'm gonna constantly think of her as Nesrin Phallic.
Phallic. I had to really concentrate to not say that. So she's aiming an arrow at Adian and revealing that Erbin knew Aelin planned to kill the prince. Aelin, choosing to spare Dorian despite her conviction that he's truly gone, lowers the sword. With Nesrin now in play and the Valg prince trapped for only moments, Aelin grabs Adian and they make a frantic escape over the garden wall with the help of allies. They race through the city, blending into the prince's birthday celebrations by adopting the guise of drunken revelers, and Aelin even breaking off into off-key songs to maintain their cover.
The picture of that,
Yep. So they have the carriage that picks them up, and as they evade searching guards through a series of quick changes and hiding Adian in a secret compartment, Aelin and Lysandra execute a flawless plan. They barely escape detection, with Lysandra defiantly facing down the guards. The carriage then connects with another carrying Kale, and Adian is quickly transferred, barely conscious from his injuries. When they finally reach the warehouse and Aelin can finally clean up, She faces Kale, and a heated argument erupts as Kale accuses her of trying to kill Dorian, while Aelin vehemently defends her actions, explaining that the Dorian they knew is gone and that she had to prioritize her kingdom's survival. She asserts her authority, sending a stunned Kale to take watch. He keeps saying, "You're not my queen."
Yeah.
God, he pissed me off in this chapter.
Yeah, and like, it's not like she went straight for the kill. She kept saying, like, Dorian, are you in there? Give me a sign that you're in there. And she says to Kale, I gave him a minute to give me some sort of recognition that he is still in there. He's still Dorian. And nothing. Yeah. That's when she went for the kill.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously we don't want her to kill Dorian, but
yeah, like, I understand her reasoning behind it. Like,
yeah. Kale got a lot of shit he gotta figure out and to stop, like, reacting. He's so reactive.
Mm-hmm. He's like a fucking German Shepherd.
Yeah. Poorly trained German Shepherd.
Yeah. No, you can't see what I'm doing, but I am pointing towards my living room where she is trained, but acts like she's not, German Shepherd is currently sleeping.
It's okay.
She's a fucking menace to society. If her frisbee is in my hand, she will listen to anything. She is such a crackhead to that frisbee, and she will listen to every command. Anything else, she doesn't care about food, doesn't care about anything. But, like,
frisbee?
Yeah, she's literally, like,
that's all it takes.
You know the Belgian melon one, how they chatter and, like, get, like, shaky? She gets like that with her frisbee. She's like a crack addict for the frisbee.
Oh my god.
So, like, when I bring her, like, for her walks and stuff, I have the frisbee with me, so if we stop to talk to somebody, I hold her frisbee in my hand, so she sits at attention just staring at the frisbee. Because otherwise she will mangle you with hugs and kisses, and her claws hurt.
Yeah.
She wants to lick your face, so I'm just trying to distract her and trying to train her not to do that, but the only thing that works is the frisbee.
Just let her lick everybody's face.
It's not the licking that's the issue, it's the claws.
It's the claws, I know.
When she jumps up to hug, she's so, like, when Link jumps up to hug, he carefully lays his paws on you, and his claws don't touch you, and he's so gentle, and then he'll give his big slobbery kisses and hop down. She darts at you like a fucking torpedo from an angle, and just, like, boom, right into you. And the claws are everywhere. Like, I'm always covered in scratches and bruises from her claws, and the way they curve down, even though we keep them short, they're like pterodactyl claws, just, like, right into your shoulders and just, like, haul you down with her. Because she doesn't just stand there. She pulls down.
Yeah. That's what Luna does. Like, Luna, she literally, like, she pulls you into her with her paws, so it hurts so much.
Oh, girl.
Like, she doesn't just put her paws on you.
I give Luna hugs every 2 weeks at D&D. Luna is nothing. Yeah. I fear for you guys when you guys come meet my dogs eventually. They get so excited with new people in the house.
Well, we love dogs, so I don't mind. I will take all the injuries if it means I get doggy kisses.
It's like, I'm going to give you guys your warnings. She's going to jump. If you let her lick your face, she'll calm down faster and tell Chris to cover his sensitive areas. Because she likes to go for those on men. That's her move.
Oh, I love it.
She'll be cute and come up between your legs and just sit there, but then she'll smack her nose up and sack you and run. She's done that to so many people at the dog park. Just, like, go up to men, like, go up between their legs and nuzzle into them. And when they stop petting her, she just smacks their nuts and runs off.
She's so smart. Don't lie, you trained her to do that.
I wish I could take credit for training her that, but I can't. Where are we?
Oh, right. Right. Yeah. She tells Kale, she basically tells him, fuck off, go to the take watch. Because she's like, there's nobody else to take watch. So you just go. So with Kale gone, all of a sudden, Lysandra emerges after having, like, tending to Aedion. And she's kind of like, Queen? The way that, like, she's just. But she does reveal that she knows that that she's Aelin.
Yeah.
And I do really like this exchange between them because I think this was a point where
Lysandra made the comment being like, I don't know how more people didn't piece it together. Like, you look exactly like the da 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 da.
Mhm.
The eyes, the ash of her eyes.
Yep, she did. And then she says, yeah, um, she says, he's always known that she was Aelin. This changes nothing between us, nothing. Then Lysandra glanced behind her to the bedroom where Aedion now lay unconscious and loosed a long breath. The resemblance is uncanny. Gods, the fact that you went undiscovered for so many years boggles the mind. She studied Aedion again. Even though he's a handsome bastard, it'd be like kissing you. Her eyes were still hard, but a flicker of amusement gleamed there. Aelin grimaced. I could have lived without knowing that. Yeah, so they had a moment again. Ugh. But yeah, so Aelin does explain to Lysandra her need for secrecy, and despite the tense reveal, a flicker of understanding and even amusement passes between the two women, and it solidifies their complicated alliance.
I love how once again our chapters ended at like a good spot.
Yeah.
It's like we got through like a big thing
Agreed.
of action, and it's just like everything's calm, everything's good, and this is where we end it.
Yes.
That's probably not going to be a reoccurring thing going forward.
Nope. And I just read the first sentence of the next chapter. And is this in Elid's
A lead.
point of view? Elid? Elid. It looks like it is because she's talking about her ankle and her lower back. Interesting. Bringing in another perspective for next episode. So she explains, because in Manon's point of, like, her chapter, she makes note of Elid's leg, how she's limping and that she's chained. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, who did this to you? And Elid says, like, how she fell when she was 8.
Yeah.
And the chains were so that she couldn't leave or she couldn't escape, and that her uncle had
And
done
Manon's
it.
like, well, not like you'd make it very far anyways.
No, it was very snarky. I loved it. But so would that be the same time that everything went to shit with Aelin
Probably. I'd say that.
leaving, like, 8? Yeah, because I know Aelin was what? How old was Aelin when she? I don't remember.
8, I think.
8?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah. I need to go back and reread the Elid chapters that we've read because I need to refresh my brain on who she is. Or, like, what we currently know of her. I mean,
Won't get into theories. We'll save the theories for the review episode. But any thoughts or feelings about the new chapters?
uh, not really nothing other than what I've said throughout the chapters. I'm very disappointed in Kale. I miss Rowan.
Oh, Rowan.
And I can't wait for Dorian to hopefully get back to himself. You're looking at me with that very blank stare. And I don't know what that means.
Oh, it's so hard to keep spoilers in. It's like I just want to spoil and talk about everything.
Have we gotten any of Nesrin's point of view, or has it just all been Kale and her?
Just Kale and her, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, like Kale's perspective, but and we did learn that they had a little thingy
Little something.
going on. Yeah, because like Aelin didn't really feel, I don't know, like jealous or anything, and that was, I
she's
think, a
happy
big
for
point.
him. Even when Erebin was like trying to rub it in her face.
Yeah. Slimy. Yeah. But the way that she sort of like smirked at Kale when she was kind of like I like her, that sort of situation. And then he was like, at that point, I knew that she knew. But yeah, no, I like this. This was like the perfect balance of information, action, and then the like comedy. Not really comedy. I don't know what to call it, because it's just a little lighter, I think.
Yeah. They gotta give us some later for everything that's gonna come.
Not looking forward.
Well, I think that's it for this episode.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys next Tuesday for the next little slew of chapters.
Can't wait. And with that, our Coven summoning comes to a close. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And follow Caffeine and Conjuring on Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date on our journey through Throne of Glass.